Bohemian Graveyard Shift. Hand in hand, my boyfriend and I blasted through the turnstile and onto the Newark train without paying. When people ejaculated out into Penn Station, we finally had a place to sit, face level, with the butts and belt buckles of Jersey residents in transit. The vessel whizzed on, created comforting hibachi metal on metal sound. Long branch next, said the conductor. I smell the pee of a dehydrated person. I whispered to my boyfriend, leaning into his gaunt frame. So condensed. Like Campbell's soup. I continued to his dismay. My bandmate, boyfriend, and I had been dating nearly a year and breaking up for 8 months. I was 27, a single mother, too encumbered for bohemian love. He was curious, artistic, and fragile, and the 6 years between us made me feel like a foster parent, especially when immaturity reared its ugly head and he started pouting. Out of our usual environment, we blended into 7 million people. We relaxed into the simplicity of lovers allowed to share a bit of time. I watched a mother carry her coughing child off the train. I was glad my 6-year-old was in New Orleans, warm, safe, and sterile. When it came to germs, my child might as well be double-sided tape. The train came to a standstill in the Big Apple. Times Square, once known for its cop killing and prostitution, was still gritty at ground level where we walked. The square's LED signs were zone required to be large and flashy. The largest, the $37 billion NASDAQ sign, was curved like a koozie around a Coors can. We moved on to historic Washington Park and past the grand houses that were once funeral homes. Outside the Dakota Apartments, we stopped to view John Lennon's last flat and the doorway where the legend fell victim to fatal fandom. What were Lennon's last thoughts? One can only imagine. We were rockers then, my boyfriend and I, and our superstar shopping list was simple. Roadies to haul our gear, fog machines to give us ambience and mesothelioma, sex scandals giving way to Playboy exclusives, and tour dates in war-torn countries who would take our songs as anthems of hope. With stars in our eyes, we caught a cab to the legendary venue CBGB's. Despite being the abbreviation for country bluegrass blues, CBGB's was the birthplace of punk rock, incubating 70s cult bands like Blondie, The Doors, Iggy Pop, and more. Sadly, the band on stage sounded more like Smoker's Cough. Later that evening, we were lost on a deserted New York street. A man on a bike passed us. "You're gonna get knifed if you continue to stand here," he said. "Baby, your orifices are in danger," I bleated. My boyfriend was conscientious of anal rape scenarios, so harassing him was irresistible. Bullying is, after all, a language of love. Sporting a nice buzz, we pushed ourselves out into the street towards Greenwich Village. The village was once a marshland, a tobacco plantation, a potter's field, a state prison, a public gallows, and finally a military parade ground. No doubt its eccentric past stimulated creativity. We felt the ghosts of greatness as we walked along Bleecker Street. We found an all-night diner. With no place to go, we ordered nachos and sat with sagging eyelids. The waitress would repeatedly pass by hinting with her subtle Czech language. She would ask, "Are we finished here?" I would respond, "Cheesecake! We need cheesecake." That bought us another 20 minutes before we had to order buffalo wings. I'd counted on photosynthesis to revive me, but I was as wilted as day-old funeral flowers. Post-sunrise, we sat in the wind of Fisherman's Wharf, waiting for the World Trade Center to open its doors. I gazed up at it in all of its man-made majesty, turned on my heels, and uttered, "Seen it!" The next time I would see it would be on TV as a national bubble burst. My acrid breath was making me venomous, and my teeth were chattering like ghost chains. Entering into St. Patrick's Cathedral, I popped 2 Tylenol capsules into the back of my throat and dry swallowed them. I gazed through cloudy contact lenses at the largest Gothic-style cathedral in the United States. The wooden and marble intricacies, the golden pews, the high ceiling murals, The luxurious Tiffany altars and stained glass parables all seemed like a dream born of sleep deprivation. "You can't sleep here," someone said, and I sank lower and lower into one of the pews. I always suspected I didn't have the fortitude for homelessness, and this proved it. I stood at the foot of the Pieta, a sculpture of Christ cradled in his mother's arms in an eternal sleep. Beneath our feet, the archbishops of New York rested in crypts. Some people have all the luck. Returning to New Orleans on the Greyhound, my boyfriend held his folded coat in his lap. He never spoke much, except for the occasional bit of memorized poetry or fact about a piece of music he admired. As he dropped his eyes to read Khalil Gibran's The Prophet, I pondered a life of traveling fast and sitting still. I'm C.M. Soto. Thank you.